Please note that Dizzy Directors is intended for educational and informational purposes only and does not provide medical or any professional advice. Dizzy Directors is not substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Consult your healthcare professional for any medical or other related questions or concerns. Hey everyone, Lauren here. Just letting you guys know that at the end of this episode, it is mentioned that this is episode 3 heading into episode 4. This episode is now actually episode 4, and I just wanted to say that really quick disclaimer before we actually begin the very 4th episode now of Dizzy Directors. Hope you guys enjoy. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dizzy Directors. My name is Lauren Clark.
My name is Tori Moser.
And with us today, we have Ray, who I'm friends with at college.
Yes.
I am so excited that we have Ray on because Ray is going to be talking about their experience and their life with POTS and essentially how it has affected them in their own ways and how it's affected them while being in college. So Ray, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and college and
Okay. My name is Ray. I use they, she, he pronouns, and I go to Sarah Lawrence College. And before Sarah Lawrence College, I went to only public schools, unless you count my preschool years. But I only went to 1 year of preschool at a private preschool. Oh yeah, I was also homeschooled for 2.5 years.
That's cool.
In there.
Homeschool gang.
Right at the beginning. So true. Yeah. I was mostly in public school, but yeah, so I very much did not have, I didn't really learn about any of the disabilities that I have. I didn't know that they existed until a year ago. Excluding IBS, but IBS I still didn't realize I had until really recently. I just also had a lot of experiences. Wait, am I? I think that I'm feeling like I want to go all over the place. Is there a specific?
No, you can kind of you
Okay.
can kind of just go with the flow, whatever that looks like.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So I didn't know anything about the illnesses I had. I didn't know that I had any. I knew that something was wrong. I got diagnosed with several mental health conditions in high school. It was anxiety, depression, and then also ADHD. ADHD not being a mental health condition, but neurodevelopmental. But so yeah, and then notably, me and my mom and my sibling were all diagnosed with ADHD. This was during quarantine, I think. And my little sibling, who is the only one of us who's assigned male at birth, was also diagnosed with autism during our ADHD screenings because they didn't make eye contact the whole time. And I am pretty sure that we are all autistic. So generally, I've spotted a lot of internalized ableism throughout my family, and I think that heavily contributed to me not realizing that I was ill for a long time because we we were all just trying so hard to meet the expectations that we internalized that, and my parents just were denying that I had so many problems for so long. Like I couldn't eat enough food ever, and I was always complaining about not having enough food options. And my parents were just eat this, we have so many foods, and I was like, no, it's not good enough. And they never thought to actually take me to a doctor about that. I just saw my pediatrician. My pediatrician never referred me to anyone specifically, but I was having, GI symptoms are one of my very prominent symptoms. I think one of the first ones I noticed, but generally I've been feeling very tired and like anxious and like in fight or flight all the time since like a while. Like I can't even really figure out how far back it was. Um, but I mean I can remember high school, middle school, like um, yeah, I often had to like go home from school because I was nauseous, and I just couldn't figure out why, or like super anxious and I couldn't figure out why, or like yeah. So I finally got my things diagnosed. At least I started to get some of them diagnosed last summer. Um, it was all me. I found out about POTS. I don't remember how. I think it was some of my friends had found out about POTS, and some of my friends were like, "Whoa, I might have this. Like, what are these symptoms? Are so relatable." And I was like, "I don't think that applies to me." At the first time that I saw it, I was like, "Nah." And then the second time, because it was just kind of on my mind for a few months. I was having a lot of issues last spring. I also had tendonitis last spring. And I was also like, well, I was having various like relationship issues and like roommate issues at the time also. And it was, and oh, and I also had a very traumatizing experience over winter break that I will not get into. But generally, I was just really not having it last spring. And I took a class at Sarah Lawrence called Care Work, Climate Adaptation in the Settler Colony by Isabel Lockhart. And that class, I think that is one of the biggest factors in me realizing I'm like physically disabled. Because like, I just hadn't really thought about the concept of care work before. And, um, like, actually delving into it made me realize so many things and I did my conference project about people pleasing, for that class. And
That's a
just
good one.
like, yeah, it's a very interesting topic. Just like feeling like we have to like so overcompensate to try to make everyone happy when that's literally not even possible. Like, and I think that it's just because of like not having my needs met for so long. I'm just like, um, I don't even know what I need sometimes, but I'm getting better at that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just yeah, it's definitely been very frustrating, especially since the medical system is very frustrating. It's very frustrating. I really have so many issues with it. I also like I started hyperfixating on the biopsychosocial model of health because I had to take medical leave last fall.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I had to take medical leave in order to like get everything figured out. It was really wonderful. Like I found my new partner on my medical leave, and I got a lot closer with my friends in Maryland and met some new wonderful people who I'm still talking to, like still in touch with, and spent some more time with my family. And like I feel like me and my family grew a lot in terms of like respecting each other's needs, but we're still working on it. So I also got put on like a lot of meds and I was on like physical therapy. I was doing physical therapy. Also, I got diagnosed with POTS um like 2 months after I first did the tilt table test, which is like the like yeah, what is like said to be like the official test
Yeah,
for
where like they make you
diagnosing
sit
POTS.
on the
It's
weird.
terrible. I hate it.
I didn't have to do the tilt table test because I went to the hospital, the worst hospital in the world, that one that's like right down the street from campus that sucks bad. We have a hospital that's right next to our campus that is
Mhm.
considered like the worst hospital
Are you
for.
talking about the Mount Vernon?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
The one that's like in Bronxville,
Oh, I don't think I've been
Presbyterian.
to that one.
Oh, you have, okay.
Okay.
Don't go.
I've been to Mount Vernon Hospital though. I would also not recommend
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah, I prefer
Oh
White Plains.
goodness.
but
Yeah.
I went to the hospital and I was sitting and I was like, I have POTS, but I don't think it's that bad. And I was sitting and they were like, oh, your heart rate's 65. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I stood up and my head hit the wall. And my heart
Oh
rate
my
was like
God.
107. And the doctor came in, he was like, you have POTS. So here's a note to go to the cardiologist, and here's a note to go to the neurologist. Good luck. And I left. Like, it was one of the most weirdest experiences, but I got recommended to do the tilt table test, I think, like 4 or 5 times. And I was like, but I have
Oh
the
God.
note right here saying I have POTS. I mean, and I
Yeah.
feel like I mean, your story's different because I don't think you didn't do the tilt table test either, did you?
No, I did something like called a sit and stand test where they took like, or my blood pressure was taken both lying down, sitting, and standing. And like each time it was pretty much the exact same, but my heart rate was like 60 beats per minute difference. So they were like, oh, yeah, you got POTS. And then left. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh,
that's
okay.
real. I unfortunately have a terrible experience to share because I actually had to do the tilt table test twice. And the second time I was crying, and they still made me do it the whole way through. And it was because I like had just like had like 48 hours off all of my meds
Ooh.
for the testing, and then I had like been told, I had been told that I didn't have to do this like questionnaire about all of my symptoms in detail, and so I like hadn't done it. And then when I got to the office, like after I had already done most of the testing and was just about to do the tilt table test, they told me I actually did have to do all of the all of the like symptoms and like write all of them. And I was like, I literally cannot do that. I have been off my meds for 48 hours and I haven't slept well. Like, why are you making me do this? And it was very upsetting, but my dad was able to like type it up for me while I talked about my symptoms, which was a little better, but it was still just like very upsetting, and I had to be there for like 6 hours.
Ooh,
That's horrible.
that's horrible.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to deal with like medical gaslighting from like any
Oh
of the doc?
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say
definitely.
I like your experience because I mean, I lived in DC for a while, so like your experience of like going through like all the different doctors because I know you got tossed around to doctors a little bit. Like, what was that
Hmm.
experience for you of dealing with all of the medical gaslighting?
Yeah. So I think that it's interesting because I feel like I've been very fortunate to not experience a lot of medical gaslighting when it comes to specifically, I mean, like specifically recently, I feel like I haven't experienced a lot because yeah, well, I'm sure it's because of like white privilege and like the doctors who I have, and having insurance and whatnot. But my, but I have like, I mean, I just felt I did feel like I was gaslit about it before I knew about it. I just felt like no one cared until I really cared. Like they were just not willing to take any initiative, which was really frustrating. And I feel like I internalized this like no one really like cares. I have to like take care of myself, um, and I just kind of was like really neglecting my needs for years because of that mindset of like just not having my like health concerns really regarded fully. Because I just had like once a year pediatrician appointments, and then it was like pretty much every time they were like, "Oh, you need to be eating more fruits and vegetables," or like usually with like dietary things, and then I was always like really close to being underweight, and like recently I was like pretty badly underweight and like severely like lost a lot of weight like last summer, like rapidly. And I finally gained that back some, but like
It's still, yeah.
it's so bad. But also specifically like when it comes to being autistic, I'm still like definitely gaslit about that a lot. Which yeah. And also and I could say so much about how like AFAB autism being so like disregarded. I feel like it genuinely like leads us to develop more like mental and physical health like comorbidities because
Yeah.
like I mean it's been found that like dysautonomia is more common in women and people with female birth and like
Yep.
and it's like related to trauma a lot of the time, and it's like, and then also like discrimination against neurodivergent people, especially like it's just like, oh my God, it's just like, oh.
It's
And
a
so this is why
wormhole.
this is why I got into the biopsychosocial model of health, and I'm currently taking a class called Mind-Body Interactions, Psychoneuroendocrinology, and it's very interesting. I'm doing a cool project.
Might be different from like my experience when I told the school. So I'm curious to see like what your experience was like.
Okay, yeah. So I think that there's like a lot of different facets of how SLC has been treating me in regards to having POTS. Like the first response when I told them is definitely like different from like day-to-day interactions with teachers or
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I can get into all that. So when I first told them, it was last summer. I was working my summer job last summer was like, so I work in IT. That's my work study here is in the IT department. I'm a web services assistant for Emily Goucher, who's awesome.
I love her. Oh
She's
my
the best.
gosh.
She's the
I haven't
best.
even taken a
Yeah.
like. I love her so much. I haven't had a chance to like take a class with her, but like she's awesome.
I don't think she has classes
No,
because
okay,
she's just a staff member. She's
okay,
just doing IT
but
work.
she's amazing. She's
Yeah,
amazing.
she's the best. She's also a really great boss. Like, so I'm gonna like I don't think I could have really done any other job last summer because I was in such a bad state, but I was like working for her and she was really flexible and that was really nice. Like, because I did have this job that I did from home that was really comfortable, and my boss didn't guilt trip me when I had to take time off and like for having to go to doctor's appointments. So that was really wonderful, but I did kind of just feel like I wasn't doing well enough the whole time, and I just had this like sense of pervading like I'm not doing enough, like I'm not doing this well enough, and it was like largely just because I was feeling so bad, I think. Like I knew that I wasn't really able to be fully present in the work. And so I ended up having to take medical leave. And she was really understanding about me having to take medical leave. I was worried that it would like make me not able to do the rest of my summer job, but I was still able to continue my summer job. Just I had to take fall off work, and Emily even said that she would definitely like have me back like in the spring, even if I did have to take medical leave, which she has followed through on that. I'm back in the position now.
Yay.
Yeah. So Emily's response, fantastic. Emily's response has been the
Aw,
best out of all the staff members here. I
Aw.
would say.
that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, she's the best. So other than that, I did have to talk to various like deans of studies and um like Dan Chan, the previous head of disability services,
We
who,
don't.
by the way, no longer works at Sarah Lawrence College. We
Yay.
currently don't have anyone in disability
Yeah, we
services.
currently don't have anybody in disability
Yeah.
services.
Oh,
I think
yikes.
it's like the dean of like the sophomore class, which is my
Mm-hmm.
class, is currently the disability services person because she was over Dan, and then Dan mysteriously at the end of the semester went poof without a trace, and they were like, "He's gone," and we're like, "Gone?" We're like,
Yeah.
he just got here. What do you mean he's gone? He's gone. Well,
Yeah.
that's not good. It's like, so what are students with disabilities supposed to do? Also, your cat is so cute.
Thank you.
So cute. And so Dan, I think, came in like September of 2020. What, two? Like
I think so, yeah.
something like that. So he'd been there for like a year, I think, max. And then the school sent out an email being like, he is no longer with us, and he's moved on, and if you have a disability letter from last semester, then use that. It's like, but they're PDFs, so how are we supposed to change them? And what if like we need new stuff? They're like, oh well, then just email this email, and then just hope that they get back to you. And if you don't hear back from them, then go in person. But there's stairs, and the place where you're supposed to go to like bring them, there's no elevator. So there are just stairs. It's like the haunted
Gosh.
dorm on campus. Nobody likes going in there. Like it's
Oh goodness.
so
Mm.
I would love. What was Dan's response? Just out of
Oh
curiosity. Did he?
God. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, he made me unnecessarily worried. He actually like made it worse. Like he when I met with him about accommodations, which was the first step, like when I started returning from medical leave. Like when I took medical leave, I didn't have to do a lot of stuff. I just had to like tell someone that I needed to take medical leave and then like do some like one form or something. I don't really remember exactly, but when I came back from medical leave, it was a whole ordeal, very stressful, and like so I had to meet with Dan Chan about accommodations, and I like had to make my list of accommodations myself. I've heard from some other people that when Polly Waldman was working as head of disability services, she actually like helped people think of what accommodations they needed.
She helped people,
Which,
but apparently was worse than Dan.
oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I love hearing other
Ah,
schools' tea. I'm just
oh
over
my
here like,
God.
ooh, who are these people?
I would like to hear more about that,
Yeah,
Melissa.
I'll
But
when I come back to campus, I will tell
okay,
you.
yeah, totally
Crazy.
fine. Yeah, I never worked with her, so I don't know that. But I don't know anything personally about her. But yeah, so when I worked with Dan Chan, I remember I had also worked with him before this because like just for my ADHD accommodations.
Yeah.
And I didn't really, I mean, I was like, like I felt like I didn't, I wasn't super happy with his response, but I don't think I remember my response. I don't think I remember my reaction very clearly the first time I talked to him, but the second time, well, he was really he told me that my emotional support my emotional support animal like might be an issue, for being able to get housing, like, and specifically for being able to get housing that accommodated me. He was like, you're kind of asking for too many things. He didn't say that like actually, but like he implied that.
Did he
Like he
use wait, did
implied,
he use the quote, "This is not in my purview" in his email ever?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Because that's what he
I don't
said to
remember that.
me when I was trying to
That's so
get
weird.
POTS accommodation housing.
Ah,
Yeah.
what? That's so terrible. No, like, I mean, I told him all of the specific things that I wanted, and he was like, okay, I mean, this is a lot. Like, I don't know if there's going to be a dorm that can accommodate all this. And I'm like, well, I need all these things. There should be a dorm that can accommodate all of them. And so, yeah, I didn't get a dorm that can accommodate all of my needs. I got a dorm that can accommodate most of them, but it only has seasonal temperature control. It does not have individually controlled temperature control because all of the wheelchair accessible single dorms in Andrews Court only have seasonal temperature control. They didn't think that people who have mobility disabilities might also be sensitive to temperature and need very specific temperatures
Yeah.
in
And
their
I
rooms.
believe the only ones that you can control, I think, is in Rothschild. Because when I was a freshman, I could control like the temperature of how hot
That's
it got and how
nice.
cold it was.
I do know that you can also control the temperature individually in the other Andrews Court dorms, but the other Andrews Court dorms have a set of stairs to get to every single one of the dorms, even the first floor of dorms, like
That's
on
Stupid.
each.
crazy.
It's it's absolutely ridiculous. I hate it so much. Like and those are the ones that have individually controlled temperature control. So people who can climb stairs can have that, but not me. It's like, I need that too. And then they were like, and then Mo Gallagher was like, no, your room doesn't have like electric capabilities for us to even like put an extra AC in there. Like, even though like I very much need an AC all year round because my body tends to overheat when I move around a lot. Um,
Yeah.
and like, regardless of the weather, like, it's just like absolutely ridiculous. And I'm still beefing with Eric Rivera about that. But Eric, he did give me a fan. He gave me a
Okay.
tower fan. He lent me one.
Okay. That's
Um,
something.
yeah, Eric Rivera at least gave me a tower fan. And he's also trying to help me move out a little bit later than the other non-seniors, because I don't think I can move out by 10 a.m. the day after classes end. Um, that's our move out date,
Yeah.
which is very inaccessible.
It's for
And
it's
I
for all classes. So sophomores, juniors, or no, freshmen, sophomores, juniors. Seniors have until 8 p.m. after graduation.
Goodness
mm,
gracious.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not in a dorm.
Me
I
either.
mean, see, I'm in an apartment which we can like control our temperature. Now I do have roommates and a lot of people like it a lot colder. Me personally, I get super cold super easily. So I bought like a space heater off of Amazon, like an indoor one, and I use it religiously. Like it's got to
Same.
be like warm in here or else I'm like freezing to death,
Same.
actually shaking and shivering. So things like that, like fans and heaters. I'm glad they exist because it's so true that sometimes places you live you can't control, um, the temperature of the house or the apartment or room or
mhm.
whatever. So, live, laugh, love those things.
Yeah. That's also like a real problem in a lot of my classes too. Just
hmm
like the rooms are really hot and like some of the bathrooms are like especially hot. And then there's also a class that I have that's 2.5 hours long and there's no water fountain in the building.
Where
Um,
is that?
it's in Andrew's house.
Oh yeah, no. Andrew's house is just
Yeah.
kept warm, like 24/7. Like it
Yeah.
is hot. The same thing can also be said about the Titsworth Lecture Hall. It's always
Also Hill. Don't get me
don't
started.
get me started on Hill.
Oh
Oh
my God.
goodness. So,
Hill.
Ray,
I
what
lived
are
in
you
Hill my
studying?
first year. I'm the biopsychosocial model of health and arts.
Okay, okay. Because I was gonna
Hmm.
say I wasn't sure if y'all knew each other through media in any sort, but I know that a lot of the engineering and media buildings, because of all the technology, they keep it absolutely freezing to like keep all of the equipment cooled
Oh
down.
yeah, no. The film building
So
at our college is
yeah,
cold.
you walk in, you're like, oh my goodness, like it's freezing in here. So if you ever like, oh,
But
I
the
need air
path,
conditioning, just like go in
the
there.
Risinger is so hot though.
Yeah.
Like, how is the Risinger so hot
No.
while the like?
Well, Risinger is hot because of the lights. We have Risinger is like our
Okay.
one of our five, four, five. I forget how many theaters we have, but like 4 or 5 of our theaters. But they always have the lights on, and it's like
Mm,
it's not, and it's like those big, bright, heavy spotlights, and the room gets hot really, really fast. The moment you start adding like 200 people in there, you're sweating. Like
yeah. And then you
it's
have people
bad.
Yeah.
going around without gloves on, about to touch the lights, and you're like, oh,
Oh yeah, that's the worst part. And it's also like old and rusted up in like the sound booth, and like the light panel doesn't work,
oh, right.
and
The
Mhm.
barn doors are like rusted open.
yeah, no, they are rusted open. Like
That's
they just
crazy.
tell us not to touch them. They're like just leave them and just don't touch them because that's bad. Um no, Ray and I actually we met each other through
We have like a shared friend group.
yeah, we have
Yeah.
Okay.
our friend group is pretty big.
hmm
So we
There's
we
yeah.
kind of fall in between friend groups, and then we started texting because Ray was like, I have pots. I was like, I have pots too. Oh my god! Like we should text each other and like get to know each
hmm
other.
That's
So and
Hmm.
great
then
that y'all know each other, like
Yeah.
especially in person, because like I'm very, very thankful for Lauren. Because I mean, Lauren, you're the only person I know with the same condition as me, so it's nice to be able to like talk to someone and be like, hey, let's compare notes, or have you had this happen, or just like, hey, I had a crap day. Um, and I can imagine it'd be a lot better in person too, because that's the other thing I was gonna ask Ray was, do you feel like I don't know what your main or if you ever have passing out episodes or seizure like episodes, but how do you normally explain to friends and family or just people around you like what to look out for or how to help? Like how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate to like both like it's interesting because I was told last summer when I was diagnosed with POTS that I had like very severe POTS. But I was also told that like the way that my POTS works is that it usually stops me from passing out, which has been my experience. Like I very, very rarely have passed out. Like sometimes I've been like I've gotten close to it, but usually my heart rate just gets really high and I feel like my body's I just feel like it's fight or flight, and then it just keeps me in fight or flight like for a really long time. And
Hmm.
so like that's not fun. Like it's terrible. But and I mean, but but I mean, it's mostly just I've gotten a lot of like dizziness. Like I have a lot of dizziness, but it doesn't usually lead to passing out. It usually just disorients me um, and is stressful and overstimulating. And but sometimes I do like I have like heard the sound start to fade really, really, really slowly. Like, or no, all the sound becomes muffled really, really, really slowly. And
Hmm.
then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pass out, and I have to like go like lie down somewhere for a
Yeah.
long time, and then it like really quickly like fades back. But the only other time, like, that's been my experience recently where I've been able to catch it because it's come on slowly. And it doesn't happen that often. So, like, it happened twice last summer, and like, my POTS is the worst in the summers. Um, and it's mostly, oh geez, I forgot what I was gonna say. Brain fog is one of my very prominent
Brain
symptoms.
fog.
Yeah,
The
Woo.
way we talk about
yeah.
that every episode, I think.
And every
We're
text
like,
message, it's like,
like,
That's
what
guess
was
who
I gonna
had
say?
brain
yeah.
fog? It's like, guess who had brain fog today?
Every day.
Constant brain. Oh my God, literally like the night before last night, I was trying to put on music and like four times in the midst of trying to put this music on, I forgot what I was doing and had to like start like over like 10 minutes later when my speaker automatically turned off and I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot to put on music." And it took me like 45 minutes to put on this music. Less. It was very silly.
Yes, yeah, at
Um,
least it makes for some good stories sometimes.
Yeah,
yeah,
does
that's
make for good
true.
stories.
Um, Oh, I feel like there was something else that I was gonna say in response to what we were just talking about, but I can't remember. Mm. Can you remind me what was just said a little bit ago?
Yeah, just talking about like friends and like essentially like how like friends reacting to pots and things
Oh,
like that.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, right. I forgot to get into that. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So I'm like I've definitely done a lot of explaining what my illnesses are. I've learned a lot about them basically, I mean, because I think it's interesting and also so that I can like explain it in detail so that people like understand what's going on with me. So like most of my friends here, at least that I've gotten close to, I've explained to them at least the basic mechanisms of how my illnesses work. Um, and I'm pretty vocal about when I'm like experiencing symptoms. I think that it's been a little weird um, because sometimes I think that I like really thought for a while that people would just not be understanding of me like and being different and like I had to try to like do everything the same way as everyone else. But for the most part, when I've actually explained to people like why I and I think that I choose my friends really well. So I'm definitely very fortunate for this, but like but my friends have for the most part been understanding and like it differs based on like how they can support me differ because I'm friends with a lot of other chronically ill and disabled people. Like we just do what we can and like yeah, like one of my best friends in Maryland has narcolepsy. And she was diagnosed with narcolepsy in like late high school, so which was like right after we became friends. So I I think that I had a little bit less internalized ableism because of knowing Mimi. Um, they're really wonderful, and I think we have a really nice friendship where we just like do what we can and like rest and like just like give each other stuff, but like only to the extent that we have the extra stuff or like just really want to give a gift or like I don't know. And I'm kind of trying to carry that kind of energy into all of my friendships and other relationships now. Like, um, I've been having a really wonderful time, honestly, like getting to know new people here recently, and like I'm definitely noticing that I'm like making more chronically ill and disabled friends like than I was before, just because I'm talking about it, and like I know if like it comes up in conversation. Like
Yeah.
it's possible that I had friends who were and I just didn't know before, like, but now I'm talking about it, and so I do know, and like, and it's like I feel like I'm fully present in the social world because I'm like actually talking about the things that are genuinely happening in my body, and like I'm just kind of accepting that I'm not ever gonna be able-bodied, and like I'm definitely like on a different realm than some of my friends in terms of like being really, really, really behind on work. And some of them are like on the current assignment, and we talk about work, and like I'm just like, oh, it's okay, I have an extension. Like I'm just doing it at my own pace because I it's like I don't know. It's kind of hard to not stress about it because I feel like my teachers like while giving me extensions, I feel like extensions still pile up is the thing.
Yeah.
Like we have like I think the thing that they don't understand is that like chronically ill people have less energy in general and less spoons, and like we also like need to do a lot of stuff to take care of ourselves that like takes time and energy.
Yeah.
And so like it just doesn't like there's just not enough time to like do as much stuff as everyone else can, but
Mm-hmm.
we're expected to be able to like
Handle everything
yeah,
on top of the
yeah,
chronic illnesses. And it's like, oh, but you have the extension. It's like, I don't think you understand. We're chronically tired. Like the chronic
yeah.
illness, part of that chronic illness comes with chronically being tired and not being able to handle everything.
Yeah, and like overwhelm just makes that so much worse. It's really not, it's like I've been super anxious recently, and I have like a few late assignments. Like I don't think I'm gonna fail any of my classes, but I'm also like I'm bad at accepting that I'm not doing things like in the like ideal
Yeah.
way. I don't know. Internalized ableism.
Makes no sense.
Grr. Grr. I also do believe personally, I think that capitalism is inherently ableist, and I'm just very upset at like how this system functions, like in our school and like
Yeah.
outside of it too.
Yeah.
Just it's just so like frustrating, and it feels like a dystopia.
I was gonna ask you, what do you feel like is the worst thing with POTS? Because obviously, like, we're told, okay, man, like, you have POTS now, but now you have to eat and drink salt forever. And, like, is there a
Hmm.
thing that, like, you hate? Because I hate that I had to drink, like, a gallon of salt water, and I make the joke of, I drink seawater, because that's what it is.
Oh my God.
Nasty.
It's so gross.
Yeah, I think that one of my like the thing that comes to mind first for me is like there's a lot that I can do that helps with something but hurts with something else. Like, and I feel like that's kind of unavoidable because I have like POTS and also like various other illnesses. Like caffeine, for example, it helps me have more energy and like do more stuff, but also it totally makes me more anxious and it's not great for my GI like issues. And like also I do have problems with salt pills too because I like struggle with like being nauseous a lot of the time. Like I have often thrown up salt pills. And it's like I need these, but my body doesn't want them. I have to like time it very specifically after I take my antihistamines. It's like a whole ordeal. And also I'm just on like so many meds. Like I literally have to take my meds like 5 to 6 times a day. And it's just so annoying. It's like okay, this is just taking up so much of my time, and like and
Mm-hmm.
it's very frustrating. It's annoying. But the meds still help me feel better.
Yeah.
Another thing that I don't like is
The brain fog.
Yeah.
no, I mean, yeah, but like, I'm trying to. I don't actually think I have a clear answer. I think that I started talking and I was like, I have an answer, but I don't have another answer right now. Um, I mean, I think the brain fog is like a pretty frustrating part of POTS, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, just that, because it's just really difficult to like remember what I want to do when I'm trying to do stuff.
think think
And
the
it
worst
ends
one
up,
is like when you're
Mhm.
doing homework and you're like especially if you're in like a class where you need to have research and it's like, okay, write out all of your thoughts, and it's like, okay, like I'm on this thought and I'm on this path, and then it's like I lost my train of thought and I no
Yeah,
longer remember what I was going to say.
yeah,
Hmm. For
yeah,
me, I feel like
yep.
there's just no thoughts. I'm just sitting there like I don't remember how to remember anything. You know, I'm just like someone will ask me a
Mm.
question, suddenly I just don't know anything. You know, I'm like very
Mm.
frustrating.
I've felt that way before myself as well.
Yeah.
Not fun. Sometimes I have like not enough thoughts, and then I feel like most of the time, what I've noticed happening recently is that I have a way too many thoughts like super quickly, and so I just can't figure out what to say or do. It's just like very confusing.
Hmm.
I feel that. I feel
Yeah.
that so hard.
My
Well,
cat's very helpful. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
no, you're good, you're good. Now I was just gonna say like we definitely appreciate you coming on here and sharing because like I said earlier, for me Lauren's the only person I know with this, and hopefully if there's anyone watching this podcast already that doesn't know anyone, I think it's good to kind of share our stories and experiences because they may be like, oh my gosh, I'm having that same problem, I'm not alone. So I think
Mhm.
it's great that we can all talk and kind of compare and share experiences and hopefully help some people watching this.
Yeah.
Yes, I so agree. I also wanted to add, like, I forgot to even mention, but you reminded me that, like, I have actually met a few other people with POTS. I think I've met like around 3 people with POTS besides Lauren and you now.
Hmm.
Like, which is really exciting. And just like I've randomly met these people in person or like we were already friends and the reason why I know this and the reason why I met these people is just because I was talking about having POTS and like being chronically ill. Like,
Hmm.
on dating apps or on um, like my Instagram story, and yeah, and that is how I connected with those people, and we are very wonderful supports for each other. Like one of my besties from Maryland who also has POTS. Oh my gosh, we even have the same med organizer because we're both on so many different meds. It's amazing. We have the exact same med organizer. It's like a huge one. And she we both have a lot of like difficulties remembering to respond to texts. So we just text each other every once in a while and we're like, "Oh my gosh, how are you doing? My brain didn't let me remember to respond to this for like 50 billion years." And it's
Hmm.
like we're very understanding of that and it's good.
Is there, and I'm going to let this be the last question, is there any advice you would like to give to somebody who has POTS or thinks that they have POTS, or like what advice would you give to somebody who is like trying to manage their chronic illness?
I would say that you are doing your best and that like you're very valid and I mean like there are there are many roadblocks, but I've felt that overcoming a lot of my roadblocks has made me just generally a lot better at self-advocating and like knowing what I need, and like I'm really proud of myself for that and it's so worth it. And like yeah, we can't fix the world. I wish we could. I wish I could fix the world. Oh my God. But
For
but
real?
like we can
Yeah.
just we can just do what we can and try to live, to take care of ourselves as best we can, and advocate and like care about yourself and each other. And also, don't have too high expectations for yourself. It's very easy to have way too high expectations for yourself, especially in this system that we live in. I am still struggling with that myself, but you are doing your best. I'm sorry if you heard that beep.
I didn't even hear anything, so
Okay,
you're
good.
fine.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yay. Good.
But alright, guys, this is the end of episode, I guess, 3 now, of Disney Directors, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys for episode 4 pretty soon. Bye!
I know I enjoyed it. Bye.
Bye!
Bye.